In the dictionary, tariff or
This is
Hi, my name is Arifa and now I will be presenting about the Trump tariff and what is the impact of it in Malaysia. So basically I will be touching about the introduction, breakdown of the issues and also the economic issues. So let's get into it. So the topic is based on the article that titled Trump's Tariff, what is the impact on Malaysia, and also written by the Lee Heng-wei and published in the Star on 7 April 2025. So in the recent year, the United States that imposed as a 24% tariff on selected Malaysian export. A tariff is a tax that placed on imported goods which makes the foreign products more expensive in the importing country. So Malaysia is considered as a small open economy, meaning that our economy depends heavily on the international trade, so especially in exports. So in-flight exports to the United States account for approximately 13.2% of Malaysia's total export. So because of this strong trade dependence, any changes in the US trade policy such as higher tariff can significantly affect the Malaysia's economy. And now we will go to the economic issues. The first major economic issue is the decline in export demand. Due to the 24% tariff, Malaysian goods become less competitive in the US market. Because of the high prices can reduce the attractiveness of the Malaysian export compared to the local or alternative foreign products. Global supply chain disruption. Many Malaysian firms are part of the global production networks. When tariffs of the global increase are sensitive, firms face the higher production. So basically, production costs and the slower textile demands may reduce the profitability and discourages the new investment. So from the macroeconomic perspective, Malaysia's aggregate demand can be written as the AD C plus I plus G and NX, and the NX is represent the net exports. So when the US reduce the demand for the Malaysian export, the net export decrease. So this causes that the aggregate demand shift to the left. As a result, the real GDP declines and economic growth becomes slower. At the same time, supply chain disruptions raise production costs, and then which can also reduce the firm productive capacity. And now we will go to the diagram 1. So diagram 1 means that leftward shift of aggregate demand, DAD. So basically in this shows that the leftward shift of aggregate demand due to the US tariff on Malaysia export. So initially, the economy is at the equilibrium where aggregate demand AD0 intersects that with aggregate supply. So producing the output YO and also price level P0. So when the United States imposes tariff on the Malaysian export, the demand for the Malaysian good decreases because they become more expensive in the US market. So as the exports they fall because of the Malaysia's net export decrease. Since the net exports are component of the aggregate demand, this causes that the aggregate demand to shift leftward from the AD0 to the AD1. So as a result, the new equilibrium occurs to the lower output level, so Y1, and also a lower price to level P1. So this will indicate that the Malaysia experience an decline in the real GDP. And also the weaker economic growth, so due to the reduction in the export and also demand. And then the diagram 2, which is the leftward shift to aggregate supplies AS. Okay, next the diagram 2 shows that the leftward shift of aggregate supply. This is caused by the higher production costs and supply chain disruption. So originally the economy at equilibrium at output Y0 and price level P0, where aggregate supply AS0 intersect with the aggregate demand. So due to the US tariff and global supply chain disruptions, Malaysia firms face higher costs of production, especially for the imported intermediate goods. So these higher costs reduce the firm's productive capacity and efficiency. As a result, the aggregate supply shift leftward from the AS0 to the AS1. So this will lead to the new equilibrium with a lower output, which is the Y1, and then at a higher price level will go to the P1. Okay, basically all this situation reflects to the cost push inflation combined with the lower economic output, which places the pressure on Malaysian economy.
Now let's talk about the impact of the economy of the US tariff. So when the US charges a higher tariff on the Malaysian goods, our product became more expensive there. Naturally, people will buy less product or goods. So Malaysian export to the US will drop, so which it reduces the overall demand of our goods brought. In the economic terms, as you can see beside me, it causes a leftward shift in the aggregate demand. Think of it like this: when less money is flowing into a Malaysian business from the export, so the economy will slow down a bit. Industry like electronics, machinery, and also the manufacturing are hit by the hardest because they are rely a lot on US orders. For example, a Malaysian electronic company that export a microchip might suddenly find that a US buyer, they will switch to the cheaper local buyer or the other country's product. This means it causes a lower sale, which ultimately slow down the growth in the country of Malaysia. This US tariff also impact on the employment and investment. Now, let's talk about the job and investment. When export they fall, company often need to cut back their production. This could mean have a fewer jobs or reduce the overtime hours. Imagine that a factory producing electrical part of our US client, they might have to lay off some worker if orders from the US drop. At the same time, businesses became more cautious about once investing in a new project. For example, a company might postpone buying the new machinery or launching a new product because they are unsure if demand will recover or not. This affects the slowdown productivity growth and makes the Malaysian long-term economic growth will weaker. So you see that the impact doesn't just hit the revenue, it also affects the people jobs and the economy's future potential as well. Next, the US tariff also impact to the inflation and production costs. As you know, many Malaysian companies import a raw material to make their products. So when the US tariff more export harder or when the supply chains are disrupted, the cost of this material will increase. So businesses often will pass these extra costs to customer, which is called cost plus inflation. The prices go up even if people don't want to spend more. At the same time, production might decrease because it's more expensive to make a good. As you can see in the economic terms, this will show that it shifts the aggregate supply curve to the left, means the output will decrease and the prices will increase. So Malaysia, they will face a situation where a growth will slow down but prices are still increasing. Next, as you guys know that, the Bank Negara Malaysia also play a key role here, where they can help by lower the interest rate to encourage people to more borrowing and spending their money, which help to stimulate a domestic demand. This is like giving the economy a little push when export is fall down. So BNM can also manage the ringgit value by making a Malaysian product more competitive abroad. A weaker ringgit means our goods are more cheaper for the foreigner buyers, which can help to offset the inter-US market tariff policy, which highlight that Malaysian over-dependence on the export and particularly to major partners like the US market. This also impact of the US tariff. As a small open economy, Malaysia is highly exposed to external shock, where a disruption in a global trade can significantly affect their output, employment, and also investment in Malaysia. This shows that the vulnerability of the export-led growth strategy during the period of global protection. So, what can Malaysia do to reduce this negative impact of the US tariff? First, Malaysia can diversify the export market. By Malaysia don't rely only on the US market, but we can trade more with Asian countries and other emerging markets. This will spread the risk and make the Malaysian less vulnerable. Second, Malaysian can use for a fiscal support. The government can provide the targeted income that give a support to the household or any industries that hit the hardest. This will help to boost the domestic demand to make up for the lower exports. Next, Bank Negara Malaysia can help to encourage people to spending more and investment their money while carefully monitoring inflation. For example, imagine if the government help support to the small and medium enterprises (SMEs) with incentive or subsidies, they can keep help to producing, hiring, and innovating even when the export fall. By combining this strategy, Malaysia can help to stabilize the economy and reduce the negative impact of tariffs. So to conclude that US tariff give a slow export to Malaysian and also affect the growth and job and also the investment. But with a smart policy like diversification, fiscal support and monetary measure, Malaysia can also adapt the situation and stay resilient. Overall, this shows that a macroeconomic theory isn't just a theoretical. It helps policymakers to maintain the stability and encourage a sustainable growth even in open economy like Malaysia. In short, understanding these impacts will help us to plan a better for the future. That's all for us. Thank you.